Greetings, fellow mundane lords of the underworld. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Jacob Wild too.
And welcome to another, hopefully much smoother episode of Tiki's Universe. It's the second episode we'll be covering out of the 10 for Samurai Jack Season 5. Now, guys, I just want to apologize firsthand for the way that the last episode went. That was just my fault for not prepping everyone soon enough in terms of just the format that Jacob and I usually do, conflicting with the format that Dragon and I usually tackle for our usual shows, and it just conflicted and made kind of a mess of a podcast, but not with anything that Dragon or Jacob was doing. I just want to take full responsibility for that and just acknowledge that all on air, and we can move forward. So what did you guys think of episode 2? Because I really think it's pretty great stuff.
Yeah, it was amazing.
All right, so some of our theories are kind of blown out the window, I must admit. Like, right out the bat, we get Aku, and he's wonderful.
Yeah, they didn't bury the lead in reintroducing Aku. And thankfully, we didn't have like a Mandarin thing of like, Aku was gone the whole time.
No, it's like he very much is there. And what's great about Aku is that he is just as funny, if not even funnier, than he was in the original series, and just the time we see him this episode.
But I guess you want to just jump right into kind of talking about the Greg Baldwin Aku versus the Mako Aku.
I guess so, sure.
One thing I put out kind of in. Never mind. I'll wait until later.
Okay. So in terms of the performances, I just think that Baldwin does a pretty spot on job. I don't necessarily think it's I mean, look, replacing Mako is definitely going to be a tough job, whoever gets it. So I don't envy the person who has to take on something like that. And for my money, I think at the very least, mixed with the great character animation that I think really does a great job of introducing Aku back into this show and really showing us that he's both as strong and as powerful and as goofy at the same time as he was in the original series. With that, I think the voice is totally acceptable.
Yeah, first and foremost, I just because now hearing the voice and compare last because I was still kind of waiting on this one. The our hitman from the last episode did indeed call Scaramouche. He did indeed call Aku. That was Aku. Yeah, that was Aku on the phone. Just comparing the voices.
Okay.
I just wasn't entirely sure until we heard like what the Greg Baldwin Aku sounded like. So yeah, it's
right.
That's official. But see, here's what I kind of noticed about. So Greg Baldwin, I've heard him take over Mako roles in the past on Avatar: Last Airbender. And here's the difference. Here's what I've noticed. I've noticed that I think Greg Baldwin is excellent at a dramatic Mako. I think that one's like seamless. Here, there's a difference. It's not bad by any stretch. I'm just saying there's a noticeable difference here in that I think it's either something he has to get used to, which we'll see down the line, but I think because you have a comedic, he plays comedic Mako a little differently. You know,
I don't really know the intricacies of the original Mako performance, so you guys will have to fill me in on that a little bit.
Basically, just to make it simple, it's just that Mako had the best kind of emphasis. Even you saw this even in the opening kind of speech of Samurai Jack said. Mako had as Aku had the best kind of emphasis on random words.
Mm-hmm.
Long ago in a distant land. It's like he always liked the comedic emphasis on certain words, and that's kind of the main thing Aku had. Here, this Aku to me, the way Greg Baldwin plays it, I like it as well. It's kind of hard to kind of say which one's better, but this one I think has really great dialogue and really great stuff to work with. So I guess it was and I think he has kind of great scenes written for. It's less played on emphasis, like Mago's just anything Aku says is perfect. This one has these excellent scenes that play to Aku's strengths.
So speaking of which, I love the inner therapist in his head in this scene.
Oh yeah, and this is
I kind of tried to Jack's personal dilemma. Like, In a way, they both talk to themselves in this episode.
No, you're absolutely right, but just
Yes.
like with Jack, it's just super serious and full of pathos. And with this, it feels like something straight out of like classic 90s Cartoon Network.
Well, for a moment, the piggyback off what you just said, Tiggy, the 90s, this continues. What I loved about this opening, and I hope continues with the oncoming episodes, that it continues the runner of easing us in to the episodes via very familiar scenes from the original run of Samurai Jack before we get to all the new dark stuff. So again, this is a very classic. Aku would many times in Samurai Jack we'd start off an episode with Aku just kind of plotting in his really weird spindly fire lair.
Right.
There'd be some shenanigans. You get some funny lines, and Aku said, "And now I have an idea." Sort of moments, and like, I will call this henchman, or like the dial henchman.
And his wake up scene had the great flaming eyebrows.
Yes,
exactly.
Just putting them into place meticulously.
And we have great Aku mundanity with the whole, like, those people are just, "Oh, Aku, we love you," or "We have this offering for you." Just Aku, just like,
he's just like so bored by it.
No, but before that, he's just so upset over the most minute thing.
If he wasn't a heartless, maniacal, shape-shifting master of darkness, you'd almost feel sorry for him.
Yeah. Right. I mean, like, they're dripping on. "You're dripping yourselves all over the floor. I just vacuumed."
Hold on.
That bit cracks me up. So every time I watch, it's like I keep losing.
Like I said, you'd feel sorry for him if he wasn't a evil, maniacal, shape-shifting master of darkness.
Exactly. And again, I love being pseudo-polite to these guys before he snaps at me. Just like,
we've seen what he can do. He could have easily just killed these guys, but no, he just shoos them out.
Exactly.
Right.
And Jacob just hit it right on the head. The whole, again, you feel a little sympathy for Aku. Like, "I just vacuumed. You're tripping." But again, it's such like a Curb Your Enthusiasm take on Aku. Just like, the people are doing something really kind of disruptive, but he doesn't want to be rude until it's like too much. Just, okay, you gotta stop this. He's calling him on it. And then, of course, we have the therapy scene. And I
love how the therapy scene is animated.
Yes.
How Aku kind of just melts like this.
He's his own therapist. Almost kind of sad.
A few kind of thematic things I caught in comparing him to Jack. Of course, he's looking on the Jack-Aku parallel.
Can I quickly say something?
Yeah, sure.
Before you go into the thematic parallels, this kind of throws another one of our theories out the window, that he actually, if his dialogue is any indication, he has no idea about the daughters of Aku.
Yeah, true. He has no idea.
Yeah, that's very true.
Which I thought was a really, in the retrospect, was a really cool move now, because it plays almost like a Greek play or something. If only, it's like a sitcom or a Greek play. Just if only there was some way. And then, of course, just like they're looking the camera practically, and it's like, then of course we cut to our main story. It's like the great opening. It's like the great prologue for what's about to transpire. Which again, that's a great idea, I thought.
So yeah, wonderful stuff with Aku right at the beginning. Like we said, we're glad that they're not burying the lead, because I think Aku, outside of probably like the reformed Samurai Jack himself, is definitely the thing we're most looking forward to in the show. And I'm glad that they're not stretching it out and making it a big mystery. I'm glad that right up front, he's back. He's more quirky and funny than ever, but he's also more powerful than ever.
Exactly. Again, I love they're working in like on a storytelling level versus like just kind of fan appeasement of like, we want to see Aku now, darn it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because again, it's like setting a tone.
And it proves that the show hasn't forgotten that, yes, there actually was an abundance of comedy in the original show.
Exactly, because we're not going too dark. We're not going too far down the dark well, so to speak. But at the same time, we're kind of balancing out.
It's like they haven't completely betrayed Aku's character. Like he has to be this super serious, like, "Oh, I'm so evil all the time" character. It's like, no, he's also this crazy buffoon character who can be used in comedy.
Certainly, but speaking of Aku's characterization, it's just a parallel I've noticed. I love this in there. We get to see difference, especially in this therapy scene between Jack and Aku over their 50-year battle, how it's had different effects on them. Of course, Jack, especially as we see in this episode, paralleling with the later therapy scenes, that Jack's going mad because he's been on the losing end of the 50-year battle of like failure after failure after failure and false hope of like I'm going home. It's like Dorothy clicking her heels.
Basically like this. It's basically like this. Akuz kind of comforts him, like saying it's going to be all right, while Jax has him like basically wanting him, basically wants to commit seppuku.
Sure.
Yeah,
It's
and
it's kind of like Aku with the Charlie Brown football in a way with Jack.
well, I think you're taking that's a great analogy because I was thinking this scene was kind of like the nickel therapist from Peanuts. At
Yeah,
the same
right.
time.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I think you're right on the money though. It is kind of like the football. It's like, oh my god, it's like that's the perfect. I think it's a perfect comparison. I think he always takes away the football from Jack.
Oh god.
And so again, the comparison being, Jack's going mad. He's taking things very seriously. Aku is getting stressed and kind of bored over endlessly winning battle, which is a really fascinating level to examine with our villain. Like, yeah, if you won over and over again, you get kind of bored and disenfranchised after a while.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like the episode. It's like the episode Jack versus Aku's like, I'll say something. I'll say something. I'll say, "Curse you, samurai," and I'll fly away. Like he's well aware, and apparently after 50 years, it's really taking its toll on him.
Yeah, which is great. It's like the whole epic fight between Aku and Jack has just turned into like a personal nuisance for Aku.
Exactly,
Yeah,
and
like,
of course we have like the lighter like someone taking it a much lighter way, and of course the other one taking it very serious. Like, I'm still clinging to hope desperately. Like, oh, I'm sick and tired of hope. Oh, it's one last thing I wanted to bring up real quick is that I think Aku is thinking in the old framework. He's sending armies and hitmen, as we saw in the previous episode. Where Jack, he's evolving in a darker direction. I think ultimately what the arcs are going to take. And last thing is the arcs will bring them back to basics, as we see with Jack as the episode goes forward. Like he's becoming his old samurai self again. Aku is going to be again kind of more. Right now he's thinking Jack's not even on my radar. I just don't care about him anymore. I think he's going to care about Jack as the thing.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Okay, so let's get into our main storyline. Maybe pick up the pace a little bit. I definitely want to give the Aku thing its
yeah. Well, this is real quick. This one will go. The wolf versus the futuristic tiger parable device was really clever. It's kind of our dark and realistic it's like we see this super dark and realistic fight. Of course, all of the white kind of representation of Jack with the wolf here, and of course at the end that we have that really gritty shot at the end.
Yeah,
Just showing you that.
That was definitely unexpected.
Yeah, I think the message is, as dark and realistic as this altercation is, there's going to be no happy ending. At the end, like our hero might die.
I'm just gonna call it like I see it right now. This is basically the Samurai Jack Logan. I'm dead serious when I say that. Like, especially this episode.
Well, again, this is this whole episode and that's that parable. Again, parable not over parallel because it's telling a story that's representative of our characters. It's showing that again there are heroes in serious danger here. He's off his game, and that could prove fatal for him.
Okay.
Daughters of Aku, first confrontation, then, right?
Yeah, I guess I just I do love the just the atmospheric quality to just Jack in the forest, of course. Always a good thing.
Oh yeah.
And then we get let's see, sorry guys, I'm just trying to
like it's like really telling that again we built up the Daughters of Aku and then instantly they outclass Jack's upgrades. Like they strip him of all his upgrades and his futuristic tech, the direction Jack's been going in.
I actually I'm glad you point that out because like throughout the first episode and also throughout this episode as well, like at least the first few minutes of Jack's arc in this episode, we do see Jack with very much kind of the I like to call it kind of like the cyberpunk Mad Max sort of thing going on. The samurai Mad Max.
It's like the first episode built up him having this futuristic armor and those weapons. This episode only just takes it all away. It's like the episode was like Jack being a badass, though traumatized one at that.
Mm-hmm.
This one's just like, okay, he's actually vulnerable now.
But then even when he does get his armor stripped away, he's still just like in total like badass mode, like right here.
I love the gun bit, by the way. Just decimates the whole force to try to take out enemies versus again, it's like Jack's arc is like he's got to go back to being the samurai he once was, and it's like to go back in time, he has to go back in time on himself. He has to like kind of return to what he was when he first arrived in the future, or basically what he was way back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like earning the right to go back in time almost.
Which just it definitely puts a higher stake to the whole gotta get back to the past, which was really just like, you know, in the original it's just like, it's a plot to fight Samurai Jack. It's a plot that will never finish, Samurai.
And again, it's just really chilling, like how fast they disarmed him of all his weaponry.
Yeah, right. Especially how much it gets built up. Okay, and then
and then we go. Now here's the beetle husk scene.
And let's just give major props to Phil Lamar here.
Oh my God! Absolutely.
That's an excellent scene right here. One of the showstoppers. This and the ending are probably the most famous scenes from. Well, then again, Aku is also really.
I'd say this whole episode is just super strong.
Of course.
Like, and major props to Phil Lamar for his work, like voicing two very dark parallels of Jack.
And you got to remember, of course, Jack's a character of a few words, so this is probably the most we've ever heard him. One of the few times we hear him speak, like to this degree.
That is true. That's very true.
No, I'm not saying Jack is like completely silent, but you know, he doesn't need dialogue. He doesn't need like kind of Dragon Ball Z like describing power.
I mean, I feel like we kind of talked in depth in the first episode about how this show very much uses silence to its benefit.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like this episode accomplishes that as well. Having said that, I feel like this episode also accomplishes a lot with music. It's kind of a wow, Dragon, save me.
It's just a
juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition. Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Juxtaposed. How it's juxtaposed.
Yeah.
How it's juxtaposed with.
Juxtaposition.
Yeah. Yay, grammar. God.
Again, literally.
Actually, if we're talking about music, Tyler Bass also did a great job with this one.
But that's what I'm saying. I think that this episode is much more focused on music and score driving the emotions rather than silence, which it works. I mean, I personally prefer the silence of Samurai Jack. But with this episode, I do think the music definitely amplifies the emotion and the themes and everything like that. And there are some good silent moments as well. So
speaking of just the sound in general, like the sound design is great because you know they have like the dripping stuff and of course the raindrops. So I love the raindrop sequence.
Sure.
But right here, like Jack's literally confronted with a ghost of his former self here, and it kind of like it's like basically the most ill-tempered Force ghost you ever
pretty much.
And again, it's like Jack's basically what this blue Jack represents here is that this is Jack's doubt and inner truth. You know, he's tired and he wants to end. And again, it's kind of a fun meta thing. He wants to end, like the fans have wanted all this time. They want an ending, and this ending may not be like the most kind of sunshine and rainbows ending. Again, it's like, of course, it's the dark versus light idea with Aku and Jack. They're like kind of our white robed samurai and our dark. You got the code in black Jack here.
Sure.
And one of the most chilling moments, the memorable moments of the episode is just basically Jack's kind of recommending, what is it, Harry Carey? Basically recommending you the honorable way out for a samurai, which would be kind of suicide.
Yeah.
Seppuku.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Technically, that's the technical term for Japanese ritual suicide for samurais.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, it's again, it's like the only him says there's no honor in what we're doing here. The only honorable, and he stops himself because he doesn't want to think that. Again, this Jack is deluded, but he's still clinging to hope.
Dragon, dare I say, this whole like duology thing is just a teeny bit Bates Motel-ish.
Yes, it is very much Bates. And of course, the creepy thing is he's most likely going to become the Force Ghost Jack. So
exactly right.
So guys, it's very.
Do you guys think we'll see more of this? Blue Jack, I don't know what else to call him.
Yes, but maybe not represented as Blue Jack. Maybe just Jack in other representations.
But like this mind Jack, his inner psyche.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's called his id. Like see more of his id, basically.
Yeah, sure. I think we're gonna get a lot of id Jack as thing goes on. Just different versions of it.
Like different versions that fit the different scenes.
Yeah, sure. Like I don't think it's going to be entirely the same artistic interpretation of his subconscious each time. I think they might change it up, shift it around.
Right.
Well, again, this sequence is great. Again, sound design, so you hear the raindrops falling, him running. And I love the great setup of for the episode, which is really cool. It's like Jack, his goal to escape, and then of course the whole crux of the series, his goal to escape. His current predicament into the past. And he says, "You'll never make it. I'll make it." wet, and then of course he's running through the rain again. We know, because he's making himself.
And the sound design in this sequence is absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Between the rain and the footsteps of the running.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The animation too.
Of course. Well, that's a given. Oh my god. And the animation gets really good because I love how. Because you got to remember this go around, they're doing it on directly on computer, but they're doing it in the hand drawn style versus way back when it was hand drawn. But it's still not drawn directly on computer.
Right. I mean, I will admit, like, this episode, there was a little bit more of an obvious CG look to it than there was in episode 1, but I don't think that's necessarily bad. It's just it's a little bit different than the original, but like we said, this is kind of like, it's definitely a continuation of the story, but it's kind of a stylistic soft reboot at the same time.
I love this temple setting because it's kind of like it's ancient ruins which are representative of Jack. He's from a much more ancient world, and he's kind of in bad shape right now. So that's kind of where all this is taking place. And what's cool about this fight, and especially going into the next episode as well, is that what Jack has over these girls is that he has experience that gives him the advantage. Where they're, again, these are like kind of girls who've been trained all their life, but at the same time, this is their first outing. They have it's their first mission.
The temple just has a very Zelda-like quality to me, which I love. Yeah,
and I love this how as they search for Jack, as they split up and search for Jack, it's like they have like dead ends everywhere they go. And again, the ending builds to this, the one escape, which Jack has to overcome something before he can leave. Again, representing getting home.
What's really cool is that there's like no dialogue at all after Jack has that little episode with himself.
Yeah.
No, you're right, Jacob, and that happens basically at the halfway point of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
So well done. Yeah, well done on the show's part for that. Okay, let's kind of
But it's talk about how tense and creepy and actually kind of scary this scene is.
Oh yeah,
it really is. Yeah.
The only thing I really would have to say is like when we get to the lightning bug sequence. But,
okay.
Yeah, where Jack's walking down the hallway with the same bug.
Yeah, it's cool. Of course, like the really tense sequence with the music, really amping up when he's cornered, and it's like a matter of time before they find him in his catacomb. Well, in his his stone coffin.
It's almost a legitimate jump scare.
It is,
and it's also a bit of foreshadowing, perhaps, if Jack were to die.
Right.
But what I love about
we know he can't die. There's 8 more episodes, but still.
Well, I'm just saying again
he said a foreshadowing to like maybe the eventual death.
I know.
But what I really love about that, when he emerges from the lightning bug kind of death trap, he's armed with a sword, and I love this idea. We're slowly giving Jack his sword.
Yeah, I love that too. Hold on, let me try and go back to when he does get that sword. Yeah, you're right. I did catch that.
And that's a big moment. Jack's armed with the sword again because he's been without sword still up to this point.
Am I hotter or colder?
Further right, Tiggy. Right. There, it's a whole. See, keep going. Jack will be in the scene. Almost. Keep going. Almost there.
Oh, that black and white sequence was amazing.
It was. Keep it going. He falls in the thing. He's still hiding. He's fine. There we go. We're getting closer. We're getting warmer. And okay, basically this is the scene.
I kind of thought this looks like a tribute to Alien almost.
I just want to get to the scene where he actually gets the sword.
Well, he's grabbing onto it now. He's about to they're going to go jump back and forth between the thing. Okay, well now he's out of the thing. So.
Wow, this is a fail on my end. I'm so sorry.
Okay, what was
I'm fixated on this one thing, and it's totally just derailing the conversation. But
yes,
but no, you're absolutely right, Dragon. Though I love how the sword is not like the elaborate samurai sword when he eventually does get the sword. It's more so kind of like this thinner sword where it's more flimsy, but it'll get the job done in a way that he hasn't been able to in some time, or at least and he has been able to use guns and everything. But I just think there's something about him having the sword in his hand that's very significant to him. And
one important plot detail is that there's a question arisen by Jack's kind of his id about what will happen when Aku realizes you don't have the sword. Remember, the sword's the only thing that can truly hurt Aku.
Sure.
So again, that's like that'd be the ultimate advantage for Aku. And again, Aku doesn't seem to care at the moment. From us, what we the audience can tell. So that's going to be something interesting to if Aku does get wind of that.
Dramatic irony at its finest.
Yes. Well, Tegan, unless you really are dead set on finance, we just move to the moment.
Oh, the moment.
The
Okay.
moment.
The moment.
I mean,
Sure.
he has a sword there. It's pretty cool. But I mean, the moment would be like kind of the big place to go next.
The moment that everybody's
There.
been anticipating.
It's Samurai
this
Jack with a sword. All right.
Yes.
All right.
Swords.
You see it? Do you see it, Eli?
Sword.
Do you see it? I'm sorry.
Eli.
He has a.
There will be blood.
He's got a sword.
Anyways, yeah, let's move on to the moment, folks. Oh, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the crack is still echoing in my mind.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to go on like just a quick minute-long mini rant about some people who do vlogs like this, because I would never dream of doing something like this. So, you know what I got just for just as a little payback for me watching this episode on YouTube? In my recommended videos, I saw someone, some sort of cartoon guy, some sort of cartoon vlogger like ourselves. Samurai Jack, Season 5, Episode 2. Jack kills a daughter of the Aku. Right on the thumbnail. Right on the thumbnail.
Yes.
So I knew this moment was coming, and it's like, look, just because I knew it was coming doesn't soften the effectiveness of it. It's an incredibly effective moment, especially because like we see how desperate Jack is. I mean, look at this. Like Jack is like just like he's fighting with the stick with like the shreds of the axe attached to it. It's like he's been through hell this episode, so we know he just wants to get out of it.
And again, just Jack's desperation to escape and get to escape things.
But
But
when
then, of course, go
but
ahead,
then
Jacob.
he sees something that he didn't expect. Instead of electricity or sparks coming out of their neck, no,
Blood.
out comes blood.
Yeah.
And again, he had that great
Big
line,
moment.
nuts and bolts, nuts and bolts.
Nuts and bolts.
I would say this is a game changer for the show going forward right here.
And to me, again, I think the message is, again, just the way, him running down that hallway, it's a Jack's goal of escape will require dark means. And that's kind of the realization going forward after, of course, he realizes, oh my God, I just killed a human being, which I've never done.
And Dragon, you're absolutely right. Like when we end the episode and we get to the whole parallel where we see the mutated dog, it's powerful. It's haunting stuff. It's yeah.
I can't look at. I can't look.
Okay, I mean, I could
that's
change it to something else. I'm just saying, like it's thematically, it's so good. Okay.
So again,
that's an image that will haunt people's nightmares.
I think so, but in a good way, though. Like, in a very effective, artistic kind of way.
again, the shock on Jack's face after slitting the daughter of Aku's neck, and of course, then this wonderfully directed wounded escape, so realistically done, because he stabbed in the sides, and she got her hit in too before she got killed. But the way, and of course, he uses the triangle, the tuning blade. He used the tuning blade.
Right.
And
I think it got from Scaramouche.
Yes. Yeah. He uses
Scaramouche back. Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby, put it to good use.
I see you're using my sword, Jack. Very good.
All right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he's
Like
making an awesome escape. But I love just as he falls here, it's like the escape is he's falling wounded in the water. Water is just kind of stained with his blood. And in a way, I like that he is. I could be reading the fact that he went for the sword after he killed her, and the fact he used it to cover his escape, and just as he falls here, I mean, it's like he's clinging to the future a little bit with that blade. That blade is like a representation of the future. Yet he's lost everything, but he's still not. He doesn't have his sword. He still has he's clinging on to the future tech. So I think it's showing that he's still moving forward, but he's not quite at his old state yet.
All right, guys. Well, we've got to wrap this up. So any
speculation?
Yeah.
Very simple. I'm sorry. You guys want to go first?
I don't have anything.
Well, I'm guessing the daughters are gonna probably immediately come after him and send they're hot on his trail.
Of course.
Yeah. Bear in mind, Alex is.
If any of the trailers are indication, it's the one where they're trapped in the snowstorm next time.
Yes. I'm saying a lot of this based on the promo that we have gotten for next episode, of course. Yeah, I think Jack
right.
will. Sorry. Okay. Anyway, so I think Jack will. I think Jack will process and make peace with the means at which are necessary to return home. If it means killing someone, I think he's definitely gonna be processing that. But I think I think ultimately he's gonna be okay with it if it means going home. It's gonna be an acceptance on his part, though.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the really big kind of ticket selling moment, I think the ticket seller of next episode is going to be, it's going to be strategy versus skill. Jack's strategy, because he's wounded, he's in the snow, and again, we just hear him like warning, giving the daughters of Aku like one last shot. So almost like a mercy for, I killed one of your own, so I'm going to give you a shot now. You can go home, so I don't have to kill any more of you. Versus kind of the skill of like these guys could legitimately kill a wounded Jack in the snow.
Right. Okay.
Here's a whole season-long thing. Do you guys think that the daughters of Aku are going to survive?
Here's the thing. I don't think they're all going to be picked off one by one in the next one, but I think it will be we'll start picking them off one by one. I think Ashi's going to be the last one standing. So I think your theory.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think Ashi is definitely going to stick around till at least like maybe.
Yeah, because Ashi's the only one who has a name so far.
Yeah, so far. So again, I think yours is. Again, I thought maybe we were start with one we knew before we got to yours, but yeah, you're right though.
Right.
And again, I think.
But that brings me to my point of how will Aku learn of them too?
Well, I think they're going to maybe reinvest Aku and then directly going after Jack again. He'll hear of like daughters of Aku. Maybe,
I think he'll be like flattered about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either he just won't care.
Like, think about it. Aku comes.
If either Aku is flattered or he doesn't care, I think either of those two options leads to pretty funny comedy. So I can find either way.
Here's my let me throw this at you. Very simple, though. Is that again the goal of this season will be to get Jack and Aku back to where they were back in the original series. Just get back Jack to being basically Aku embracing the future and Jack to being back to kind of being the old school samurai. Mm-hmm. What we could do is, okay, Aku hears of the daughters of Aku and he's kind of reinvigorated. So let's say even if all of the daughters of Aku do die, we know like there's a whole slew of like other the high priestesses and all the rest of them. Let's still say like Ashi or something. Like let's say there's still a few left. The point is, I think Aku like, oh my god, I can fight the samurai and I have a whole new army to work with. That it's like refreshing. It's new. It's something that again he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to create robots and stuff. It'd be like a fresh way of like taking on the samurai that would reinvest Aku. So again, it's Aku yet again embracing the future of seeing his legacy in action versus Jack again like the last remnant of the past trying to get to the past going up against Aku.
Right.
One last brief thing, just not to get lost in this. I think in the end, I still think broadly Aku will have a realization about kind of all the stuff he and Jack have been through, and I think whatever Aku's realization is, I don't think it's going to like build to like a battle in the future between Jack and Aku. I think we're going to end on them battling in the past. Like they see Jack's victory in the past, assuming he doesn't die. But I think like Aku somehow will make a realization that will lead to Jack going back home in the past, and then we'll still have that Aku Jack fight, but it'll be in the past.
That's deep. I got to think about that one. I got to marinate on that.
Because I'm just saying it'll be a little obvious.
There's a lot of ways it can go. I guess we'll see.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all I really got to speculate on.
Okay.
So overall, this episode really good.
Yeah, totally. All right, folks. So thank you for. Go ahead, Jacob. I'm sorry.
I think it keeps the pace going at a nice steady rate, and even opens up a bit more of the floodgates for any possibilities that await us.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, folks. So thanks for joining us, and until next time, remember he's
Samurai Jack. Watch it.
He's got to get back.
Back to the past.
Samurai Jack.
Jack.
Watch out!